Hi everybody, this is Ron Chapman Jr. I'm Executive Director of Games for Life, a nonprofit that is based out of Atlanta and Decatur, Georgia, where we teach principles to children and adults through games. The main game we use is chess, and so I'm running a series called Chess 101, where I'll be teaching some basics and actually some more advanced ideas from chess. Today, I'll be talking about the Double Muzio Gambit. That's an opening that I used in the game recently. I actually just finished the game a few hours ago to win a game. It was against a player on one of the many online servers that I play, against a good player, actually rated higher than I am. But I used the Gambit pretty effectively. I think he makes some mistakes, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're looking at the board right now. You see the 4 highlighted squares. Those are the 4 most important squares in the chess game. If you control those squares, you control the game. And so much of the beginning of this game will revolve around those squares. So we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm playing white, and so I'm up first, e4. That's a very common opening move. It takes control of one of the center squares, and as you see the red arrow, it attacks another center square. Black responds in kind, takes control of one of the middle squares, and attacks another one. And f4, this is part of the King's Gambit, which is actually my favorite opening. A gambit is when you sacrifice a piece, or you sacrifice material for either tempo or positional advantage. In this case, it's a sacrifice, if he accepts it, for positional advantage. So black can either accept it or reject it, and he decides to accept it. So he accepts the material, he takes the pawn, but gives away a better position. So now, as white, I have the better position. So let's see how I take advantage of it. I just developed my knight, attacking 2 center squares and developing a piece. And black moves to g5. This is a pretty good defense against this opening. As you see by those red arrows, he's potentially thinking of moving his pawn up to g4 and attacking my knight. So that's something to keep in mind. I develop my bishop. I'm attacking, as that red arrow shows, I'm attacking the f7 square. Most early attacks happen on that square because it's only defended by the black king. So other checkmates, like the scholar's checkmate, happens on f7. So that's something that black needs to be aware of. But right now, black just develops his knight. An okay move. Developing pieces potentially is too slow in this situation, but we'll see how it goes. I take control of the center a little bit more. I have pretty much complete control of the center at this point, which is always a good thing. And so black tries to get my knight out of his pretty good position. So he pushes down to g4, and so normally I would teach someone to move their knight to put him on a safe square, but again, I'm doing the Double Muzio Gambit, and so instead of moving a knight, I castle. Looks kind of weird giving away a knight, but again, the Gambit, you're giving away material for position or tempo, and so again, this is for positional advantage, because once he takes my knight, I take back with my queen, and now all of a sudden that f7 square is looking very dangerous for black. I'm attacking with my bishop, my queen, and my rook. Okay, so before he deals with that, black takes a free pawn and attacks my queen at the same time. So now it's my turn, and why not? Let's give away a bishop also. So I sacrifice my bishop for a check, and this makes black move his king. So he has to move his king somewhere. He could just move up, but if he's going to move his king and make it so that he can't castle, he might as well take my piece, right? So he takes my knight, and then I put him in check with my queen. Okay, so I've sacrificed a knight and a bishop for this current position. So if I'm not attacking fast and often, then black will be able to mobilize his pieces and win the game because of his material advantage. So I put him in check, and black blocks with his knight. That's a good move. Develops his knight and blocks the check. So here's where I have a couple options. It looks like we'll look at a a variation that I did not do. But it looks like if I push that pawn that I'll win that knight, but that's actually not true, because black can then fork my king and my queen, and when I move my king out of danger, he could take my queen, which would be bad. So I don't do that move, so instead of pushing the pawn up, I develop my knight. So this move has two purposes. Not only does it defend against that knight fork that I just showed you by black's knight, but it also, in two moves, I'm ready to attack black's knight again. You see the arrows leading to where I'm thinking to attack. Okay, so what does black do? Black goes back to defend. I'm not sure how strong of a move that is in this situation. I haven't analyzed it on any software yet, but it feels kind of weak to me. It attacks the queen, but in this situation, black needs to be getting his pieces involved in the game. That knight has already moved, now he's moved it again. It's just giving me a chance to get more pieces involved. But I do need to move my queen first, so I keep her in the action, still attacking the knight, but now she's safe. And she's like I said, still involved, and has good squares that she can go to. Okay, black pushes the pawn with the idea of giving room for his light squared bishop to move, but in this situation entirely too slow. He needs to get pieces involved and get them involved fast. So I take advantage of that move and get my knight involved. And now we see with all these arrows, I'm now attacking his black knight on f6. I'm attacking with my knight, my rook, and my queen, whereas he's only defending it with his queen and his king. So he has two defenders, I have three attackers, so he adds another defender. In this case, it's 3-3, and when it's even, attackers and defenders, then that gives the advantage to the defenders. So I need to bring in more attackers, or remove some of his defenders. So I decide to try to remove one of his defenders. I try to remove the bishop. So he brings his rook over, not entirely sure what the line of thinking was besides protecting his bishop, but just doesn't work in this case. I just take the bishop because it was a defender that I needed to remove, and when he takes back with his rook, all of a sudden I am again attacking with 3 pieces, he's defending with 2, but this time it's my move. I take with the knight. I could have taken with the rook, didn't want to take with the queen because he would have just taken my queen, but taking with the knight gives me the option of the discover check. You see the rook down on f1, that arrow. If I move the knight out of the way, I have a discovered check, so I can pretty much put that knight wherever I want to, and it's kind of like a free move. So black actually moves over, which just leaves him in danger of another discovered check. So again, I can move that knight anywhere. The queen will be putting the black king in check, and I have lots of options. So what does black do in this case? Or sorry, what do? I push my pawn. And that's just because I kind of have time in this position. The black king doesn't really have any good squares to go to. He can't really get his other pieces involved too well, so I figured I had some time to solidify my position a little better. Black pushes a pawn. Not really sure. I guess he didn't want me to exchange pawns in the middle, but definitely just does not work in the situation. Again, another move that's too slow for the type of against the type of attack I'm launching. I get my last piece involved. I get this rook to d1. You see the arrow. I'm also kind of x-raying through that black pawn and looking at the king, or sorry, black's queen, and he pushes a pawn. Again, not really sure what's going on there. Just isn't a good move, and so now I double check, and this is actually where black resigns, because no matter what he does, I win his queen, and so the game is over at this point. I'll show you what it could have looked like. The one variation is he moves over, I put him in check, he moves his king, I take his queen, he takes, and the game's pretty much over. We could do a couple moves, and it would be all she wrote. Clear win for me. Another option would be to, if he moves back, again put him in check, he takes, and again another clear win for me. Something to look at from the final position is the 3 green highlighted pieces for black have not moved yet. Completely useless, whereas all 4 of my pieces are involved in attack. Okay, so that is the Double Muzio Gambit. I hope you learned something. Again, I'm Ron Chapman Jr., Executive Director of Games for Life. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.